guys, I'm Aaron from PhoneDog.com, and Bravo! The Motorola Bravo is finally available in AT&T retail stores. It's available now for $129.99. You know, it was one of those devices that was announced at the Motorola CTIA event a few months ago in San Francisco, along with 4 or 5 other devices. So, in terms of design, in terms of features, it's very similar to the Motorola Defy. 800 megahertz processor, 3.7-inch display, 3 megapixel camera, Android 2.1 with MOTOBLUR, and a few other features. So we're going to take a look at it in the unboxing. Special thanks to our friends at AT&T for hooking us up with a review unit, and special thanks to our friends at Best Buy for hooking us up with not 1, but 2 Motorola Bravos for use in our One Pop Bandit giveaway. You know, one thing I like about Best Buy Mobile, you walk in, they're unbiased. You walk in, you know, you have several different carriers to choose from. They're not in there saying, AT&T is better than Verizon, or Verizon is better than Sprint, or I hope they're not talking at all like that. But, you know, they're not comparing one to the other. They're not saying one's better, one worse. You know, one is terrible, one sucks. It's an unbiased shopping experience, and it's available at Best Buy Mobile. But enough of that. Let's get into the unboxing. Motorola Bravo starts right now. All right, it's unboxing time. The Motorola Bravo with AT&T, and just to recap a little bit on the specs, it has an 800 megahertz processor, a 3.7-inch display, a 3 megapixel camera. It's running Android 2.1 with Motorola's MOTOBLUR user interface, and it's pretty decent, you know, little mid-range device. It reminds me a lot of the Motorola Defy, which I unboxed a couple days ago, and minus the whole water-resistant part. Do not put your Bravo in the water. It'll probably die. So that being said, let's have a look at the box here. You can see the icons at the bottom. Android, web, smartphone, and Wi-Fi. And then on the top, you know, it explains all that. Android 2.1, 3.7 touchscreen, Wi-Fi, full HTML web browser. On the back, it talks a little bit about the specs. So Android 2.1, again, 2 gigabytes of device memory with up to 32 gigabytes thanks to the micro SD card slot. It's a quad-band device, Wi-Fi support, and, didn't they say that? Yeah, they repeated that twice. That's a little box error. 3.5mm headset jack, and more. So, in the box, we get the Motorola Bravo battery, charger, 2 gigabyte micro SD cards pre-installed, and a quick start guide, in case you don't know how to turn it on. On the top, as usual, thanks for purchasing a Motorola Bravo. I didn't buy it, but no prob. No prob. Turn this over. Talking about MOTOBLUR, before you turn it on, you need to set up a MOTOBLUR account, and it'll walk you through from there. Quick start guide, and there is the device. It doesn't want to come out. There is the Motorola Bravo. Texting and driving, it can wait. Good words. Stick that over there. And there's the device. Now it has 3 capacitive touchscreen buttons, or capacitive buttons on the touchscreen. On the bottom, it has menu, home, and back. So it is missing the search key, but you know, otherwise, excuse me, very similar to other Android phones. Let's take a look at what's in the box here. We have the USB cable, or micro USB cable, which this is a huge shocker. These don't come with phones anymore. Just kidding. Micro USB to USB. Don't drop it. AC adapter module. The usual Motorola AC adapter module. Still fun to hear that crinkle. With the USB port on the side, nice and compact. Battery. That'll be useful. Powering on the device. And, of course, the battery door. And then safety, regulatory, and legal information. So good bedtime reading material when you want to fall asleep fast. Let's have a look at this. And get the battery in. SIM card's already in there. 2 gigabyte micro SD card pre-installed. And there it is. Press down and push up. There we go. So do the opposite to put it on. Now here's the device. You can see micro USB charging port on the bottom left-hand corner, volume rocker on the right side, 3.5mm headset jack on the top, and power button, 3 megapixel camera without a flash on the back. So it's pretty, it feels good in the hand. I like the chrome accents on the back. The battery cover looks nice. Everything looks nice there. And the 3.7-inch display looks like it's a decent size. Okay, so here's the Motorola Bravo turned on. You know, I like to cut off the camera while I'm going through the MOTOBLUR setup because it just takes too much time. And that's wasted time that we could be hanging out together with the device. So we're in Android 2.1 with MOTOBLUR user interface, as I said before. And actually, I just noticed as I was swiping, one kind of funny thing, if you remember the Droid X and the Droid 2 on Verizon, both of which have MOTOBLUR, along with the Defy, even though it's with T-Mobile, that bottom, when you swipe and you see the quick access to the home screens, you'll notice that that's orange on this device, so orange for AT&T. as opposed to red for Verizon. Maybe it's like that, maybe it's not. I just thought that was funny. Anyway, 7 home screens, typical blur configuration with the typical widgets that you remember you've seen on the Droid 2, the Droid X, the Defy, several other MOTOBLUR devices in the past. You know, actually, as I've said before, I'm really pleased with these widgets. They're nice, they're customizable, and you know, it's a love-hate thing. They're very boxy, but at least I can take the date widget, for example, or the calendar widget, and move it. So if I want it to look like that, I can make it look like that. I can take the weather widget, bring it over here, spread it out, so I can see the high and the low of the day. The news widget, I can change that. So there are a lot of customization options. If I want, you know, the contacts widget, for example, to be a little bit bigger, I can go down like that and you know, do that. That's nice versus saying here's the widget. It's standard. That's what it looks like. Or that's a nice touch on MOTOBLUR. Let's have a look at the applications. We have, of course, the MOTOBLUR accounts application, AT&T Family Map, AT&T Maps, Music, Navigator, Radio, Wi-Fi hotspots, the typical programs that you've seen on AT&T Android devices and AT&T smartphones, period, in recent memory. Either Android stuff, browser, calendar, calculator, etc. DLNA, email, which is just a different email icon, so I'm interested to have a look, which it took me straight to text messaging, so I'm assuming you have to set up the email to take care of that from there. But mobile banking, Mobi TV, Motorola stuff like social networking. This is a neat touch. I touched on this in the Motorola Defy review, but the Motorola Bravo has it too. The Task Manager application out of the box, which is a nice touch. You don't have to go to the Android market, download Advanced Task Killer, wait for it to install. And, you know, you have an in-house application here in Task Manager, which is a very nice touch. Other applications, Wear, YP Mobile, and then VLingo Voice, which is a nice addition on that front. Now, it has an 800 megahertz processor, although, you know, I'm noticing it's a little bit laggy, just scrolling up and down. Kind of unimpressed with that. And, you know, with the Defy, for the most part, once the Defy was booted up, I didn't really experience any lag with it, which theoretically, they're both 800 megahertz processors. You wouldn't imagine there to be a huge difference, but, you know, I'm seeing a little bit of lag. Not so much when I'm going through the home screens, but I'll show you again, going through the menu, kind of see that stuttery kind of choppiness as it scrolls down and scrolls up. So, you know, could be a concern there. People that, based on my early testing, at least as you saw on the camera, people that want a high-end device, this isn't the device for you. Now, people that are first-time smartphone buyers, people that are want to move into a mid-range Android device, still seems like a pretty decent device to put up with a little bit of lag. So let me point out a couple of quickies here. First of all, you'll notice that at the top left-hand corner, the AT&T logo is permanently displayed. Not a huge thing, maybe a frustration to some. Kind of annoys me, but you know, you may not have a problem with it. AT&T is there and it's there to stay. So you take another Android device, you'll notice when you click on, or when you hold the notifications bar, the date will appear. Not the case in this. It stays AT&T, and where the network ID is has been flipped with the date. So the date's down here instead. So again, you know, minor design tweak, not huge, but some people may be frustrated by that. You'll notice it has live wallpapers as well. So for the people that were asking on the YouTube videos and on a couple of the different mediums we're in, it does have live wallpapers, and we'll take a quick look at those options. Let's have a look here. Live wallpaper. I think you get 5 or 6. So you get 6 live wallpaper options. Bubbles is a new one for the Motorola Bravo. And then last but not least, let's take a look at the settings. Let's see if you can sideload apps on this. I imagine you can't since it's an AT&T device. Applications. Yep, no option to sideload apps. You do have to install official apps in the Android market. So, you know, again, if you're an diehard Android user, you want to sideload apps, this is not the device for you. Nor any of the AT&T Android devices, unless you customize them, you've hacked them, you've done something like that. But not the device for you out of the box, at least. But overall, the design looks good. It's a pretty decent device. It feels good in the hand. It's relatively lightweight, and I really like the chrome on the back and how the black battery cover and the black front piece here goes with the chrome on the back. It's a nice touch. Feels good. Looks good, and you know, feels a little bit higher or more expensive than $129.99 in my book, but we'll certainly take a look at the lag a little bit more in the review, and see if that's something that just happens in the menu, just happens because the device is initially being set up in this video, or what. So be sure to stay tuned. Much more coverage to come on PhoneDog.com. As I said, reviews, dogfights. I can see this in a dogfight against the Defy at some point in the future, so be sure to stay tuned for that, and much more on PhoneDog.com. Be sure to like us on Facebook, Facebook.com facebook.com/PhoneDog. We're a cool group of guys and gals. We have fun on Facebook. We do editor chats, and we interact with the users. And if you sign up and you enter our sweepstakes, you could win an iPad or even a trip to the Super Bowl. So be sure to like us. Facebook.com/PhoneDog. And follow me on Twitter, PhoneDog_Aaron. And hit me up with any questions you have. Love to answer those. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Touch the bubbles. Ooh.